So we stand in front of Dollar Tree and basically,
such as this thing here.
all right, I'm excited to have a guest.
Look, this metal right here, of course, everyone is. Cuba is like they're under a dictator.
RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. We are live for a Wednesday night edition and excited to connect. Looking forward to finding out what's on your mind. Very interesting middle of the week, to say the least. Looks like the Bank of England was the first out of the major central banks to change their mind and reverse course. And it's a lot we can learn from this, just simply in the fact that those who live by the debt ultimately die by the debt. And QE to infinity is the only road to get through this, or to even pretend as if there's anything to do, even if that means inflation continuing to go up and everything in between. But anyway, we'll touch on that and a couple other subjects. Of course, we got that Hurricane Ian right now that's flooding the streets in Naples, Fort Myers, you name it. That's going to be ugly. Yeah. Anyway, hope everyone's doing well. As always, any first-time viewers, let me know where you're watching from. We'd love to acknowledge your presence. Thank you for being a part of the community. And let me know what's on your radar. Feel free to give me a call when the phone lines open up, 313-462-0027. We'd love to hear from you guys directly. So bring a topic. Let's talk about it. So, man, it's more things than we can all get through in one segment, but we'll do the best we can. Let me just go through, acknowledge a couple people, do a little maintenance on my side, and then we'll jump right in. All right, we have NDR is amazing. If I'm not saying it incorrectly, let's go. Appreciate you, man. We got Rolf checking in as well. Barlight Broker in the building. Let me see here. We got Rolf checking in. We got Jay checking in. Appreciate you guys. Also, any first-time viewers, definitely let me know where you're watching from. Any of my people down in Florida tuning in, definitely would love to hear from you guys as well. We got Ed checking in as well. Question: how long will the UK Band-Aid last? Do you think the U.S. 10-year Treasury will start rising again soon? It's so confusing, man. Just because this monetary experiment that has so many different angles at which they're able to attempt to prop this thing up, but definitely with a Bank of England deciding to pivot, it looks like they made an initial announcement of about $65 billion that they'll make available over the next 13 days, and that's just to get started. And so they're trying to make it seem like it's going to be temporary. Therefore, the rest of the world kind of receives somewhat of a relief that at least one of the major central banks would decide to continue to inflate. Therefore, as you guys can see, the the 10-year went down a little bit, as well as we got to pump in all the markets, just because just that sense of like, okay, the spigot's cut back on for a second from the Bank of England. It gave a little false confidence. So long story short, how long? Nobody knows. I know it's all subject to what the Federal Reserve decides to do, and they seem hard pressed on continuing to press forward, even at the risk of having the same type of contagion style events or systemic risk. It's basically just all based upon a debt market. So at any minute, something could happen, cataclysmic. So, but once again, we all knew what time it is. It's just a matter of what will be the trigger. And of course, we got a chance to see what the Bank of England attempted to avoid, or just basically put on pause for now. What else we got here? The totalitarian two-step from Yashiba. We got unclearable, if I'm not saying that incorrectly. How you doing, my friend? What else we got? Tony checking in as well from Michigan. Appreciate you. What else we got here? We got Mass Administrator. Appreciate you. Rough Kali. Weather awesome in North Florida today. I love it when the weather turns cool. My views: will Trump, the Antichrist, finally come out of the closet? Mike. Yeah, no telling, man. I'll let you guys answer that. QE to infinity, 100%, man. All right, so before I move forward, let me just make sure I do a little maintenance on my side, make sure everyone knows and able to hit that subscribe button if you guys want to plug in on these live streams, as well as when I do interviews. Also, let me know your thoughts on Professor John Hearn yesterday. Great time connecting with him. And he's right in the eye of the storm, monetary storm in the UK. So he's basically dedicated his whole life to try to teach economics and to see the central bank go complete asinine with policies that make absolutely no sense. But then again, we all know there's something greater behind that. So definitely kick that note. And also, link in the bottom of the description here for all the alternative social medias to connect with us as well. Is a good way to make sure you guys stay plugged in. And also, before I move forward, as a result of all this stuff, we're witnessing the debt implosion. And of course, I'm going to touch on the whole pension fiasco that was temporarily put on pause with this $65 billion that's about to be put out there. But the interworkings of, basically margin calls as well as derivatives and some type of new methodology that they've used to basically profit off of the whole pension system I'm going to talk about in a minute. Based upon that stuff like that, everyone continue to double down, doing what you do in reference to just trying to prepare and brace for impact. Because, as Doug Casey says, we're in the eye of the storm. And of course, even what's his name? Jamie Dimon talking about the storm is here. And so everybody sees the storm is here, literally speaking. And of course, the best way to protect and preserve yourself, of course, is with metals and also everything else you need to sustain yourself. So anyway, just want to give a quick shout out right here to my people at Bullion Max as well as 4 Patriots. So stick around and we'll jump on some articles as soon as I get back. Here's a great opportunity for you to get your weight up. Let's face it, our purchasing power and our currency has been destroyed in real time. That's why I'm excited to tell you about my partnership with Bullion Max. Bullion Max will ship gold and silver directly to your door for you to hold at your home or in your own safe. To help you get started, I worked out a special offer with them. Get Bullion Max Silver Starter Kit at employee pricing. Just go to bullionmax.com/RTD. This kit includes 5 of the most desirable silver products to invest in, including the American Silver Eagle and the Silver Australian Kangaroo. This offer is limited to 1 per household while supplies last, so get yours today and take advantage of this opportunity to get your weight up. Now, you can't just stop at getting your weight up. You also got to get your calories up because definitely a food shortage is underway between droughts, flooding, and all the climate issues being thrown our way. America's food supply is near its breaking point. That's why survival food is more important than ever. Create your own stockpile of the best-selling 4 Patriot survival food kits. It's not ordinary food. We're talking about 25-year super survival food, hand-packed right in the family-owned facility in the USA. The kits are compact, sturdy, water-resistant. They have different delicious breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. Go to 4patriots.com/RTD to get your 3-month survival kit. You'll get their famous guarantee for an entire year after your order, plus 10 free gifts and free shipping. To take advantage of this opportunity, go to 4patriots.com/RTD to build your own stockpile today, because beyond the weight, you're going to need your calories as well. Links in the description. All right, we're back at it. I want to get to these articles, but before I do that, I want to make sure I remind you guys, for those who are interested in participating in the Get Your Weight Up giveaway, that ends this Friday at 4. So definitely enter that if you're interested. Information is in the bio. And then also after this week, my goal is to literally just continue to pump and to just, shine light on what I've been talking about all along, which is to get your weight up. And so starting probably next week, I'm going to do another giveaway of about 5 ounces, working with Bullion Max to put 5 ounces in your hands as well. So looking forward to that, just a way of giving back to the community. So if you're interested, definitely participate and simply just, share and pass it along. So, all right, let's jump right in, man. So, of course, man, how many subjects are there to touch on? I'll just scan the surface, share my 2 cents, what caught my attention. As always, I put up articles in the Telegram for you guys to look at. But this is a key indicator of what we should expect from more central banks or else. It says Bank of England in a $65 billion scramble to avert a financial crisis. Now, here's the thing. We all know that you either continue the easing or you deflate and everything collapses. So you inflate it away or deflate it away. Either way it goes. Well, here we have them admitting that they averted a financial crisis, but then again, they are going to have to do more of the same exact thing. So this initial $65 billion literally it's a week's worth of counterfeit currency. So ultimately, they're changing the narrative ultimately, because you can't fight inflation by also continuing to expand the monetary base by basically creating currency out of thin air. And so it's just a matter of time before they have to give in at some point. And they've obviously chose to basically say to hell with the British pound in a sense. But anyway, here, more details here. I highlighted some things, but I'll spare you guys that. But as you guys know, this is just an initial amount of what was put forth today. And let me actually see where I did. So it says, in a reversal of policy position announced on the day from Quarton's fiscal event, the bank said it was setting aside $65 billion to buy bonds over the next 13 working days to ease pressure on the pension funds and insurance companies. And so this is simply just to help prevent a systemic event based upon all the broken promises that no longer are solvent in a sense, because the pension funds and insurance companies ultimately hold all of these underwater bonds that are good for nothing. And so they had to come in to provide some liquidity. So long story short, and then this is what caught my attention here. PIMCO CIO says the UK market chaos, not systemic, but will have global impact. And so as always, whenever I see something on the headlines, mainstream headlines especially, I always like to take it and flip it upside down. And so ultimately, I read this as saying, PIMCO says UK market chaos would be systemic, but will have a global impact and will have a global impact. So just more stuff here, more hot air. They have to protect themselves, of course. And then here we have more details into the interworkings of this whole pension fiasco. But it says UK pensions liability-driven investment is backfiring. So just these three words here, liability-driven investment. So this is one of the methods that they've used to basically get away with having extremely low interest rates for the last umpteen years, to the point where now, because of interest rates shooting up so fast, it's left a lot of these intermediary parties on the hook with having to raise collateral to make do on their margins, because they figured out a way to just basically shuffle all the stuff around the back end, and it's causing a problem. And so people are having to sell off these damn bonds to get cash just to cover the margins on some of these workings here. So here's a whole little highlight stuff I talked about, but I'll spare you guys this just because it just talks about a lot of technical jargon stuff. And ultimately speaking, it's debt. Debt can't grow unless you can create more of it. So that's, common sense. But once again, this current system, they don't seem to think people are smart enough to figure it out. Anyway, keep it moving. So they avoided that in the meantime. How long? We'll see. Definitely by end of this year or next year, something will blow, whether it's in the UK or the Europe or here in the US. And something I didn't talk on yesterday, just I noticed everybody touched on it, but the whole Gazprom, or not Gazprom, but the Nord Stream 1 and 2. And of course, as of now, it's looking like literally it was sabotaged. If it wasn't the U.S. directly, it was one of the agencies, as well as probably some military force that definitely did it. And so we all know that they want war. War is the best cover-up to stop a decaying monetary system. And it could easily be a narrative to where, for the U.S. especially, everything was working fine. But this whole situation with Russia came up, and we had to pivot, and we had to, get ready for war. So that's always on the table. But curious to hear what you guys think about that. And what else we got here? Here's just more news about the decaying economy. Home buyers are backing out of deals at record high rates in these 10 U.S. cities here. So if you guys are interested, you can read more here. But Florida, Vegas, Atlanta, Orlando, all the cities that we talked about earlier in the summer and spring that was hot. Looks like things are cooling off according to what they're sharing with us. And what else there? Here is just, when you hear nuclear, at some point you got to realize that it's getting serious. And here's a headline here. Russia issues new nuclear warning as contested Ukraine referendums end. And of course, there's no surprise that all three of those regions, the referendums went favorably well for Russia. So they're now officially going to become part of Russia. And as a result of that, U.S. Embassy in Russia today basically said all Americans must leave immediately. Sounding the alarms pretty loud there. So what does that mean? Escalation of a conflict. But we'll keep moving. And of course, you guys know 30-year fixed mortgage rate jumps to 7.08%, the highest since 2002. That's going to be problematic. That could be enough of a reason for the Fed to have to rethink some things or keep pressing the gas and drive this economy right off the cliff. Then nearly 70% of Americans are looking for extra work to combat inflation. More and more of the same. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get to some open the phone lines. I'm more interested in talking to you guys than rambling over these crummy headlines. So let's talk. Feel free to give me a call. Whatever's on your radar. Feel free to throw out some topics, some things like that, and we'll definitely jump on it and keep it going. So what are you guys keeping an eye on? Of course, this hurricane, man. I'm watching all these video footage from people in Florida. You see sharks swimming down freeways. It's kind of bad there. What else we say here? Let her reach out to Kula for his opinions. Coolio, the rapper. Yeah, I think he did pass. Rough say, what else we got here? Let me look up. I have here's one of the pictures I was talking about right here. And so it says there's a shark on a highway in Florida. So I think as a result of this hurricane situation, I'd imagine a good portion of southern Florida will probably be underwater for quite some time. And you better believe, because DeSantis has been so outspoken against his current establishment, that when it comes time to getting some type of federal aid, he won't be on Biden's to-do list. Therefore, we'll see how this plays out. But they're going to definitely turn this into a left and right tit-for-tat battle. Legit shark, not sure, TGB. I saw this, and I also saw a couple other videos as well, or people's houses actually flooded out and actual small fish in there, like on their first level. So that's definitely sad. Tribulation Purpose says, I hope that those backing out of their real estate purchases have committed to, to a large non-refundable deposits. I would hope so as well. But no telling. Just the housing market itself, man, is so sketchy right now. With interest rates of 7% and continue to climb, it's definitely going to cool things off a lot faster. And we may be nowhere near the top of that. Let me see. Mag Lab in Tallahassee. What else we got here? Rough. Who knows about Mag Lab in Tallahassee? People say, People say that they have some sort of electrical equipment that blocks hurricanes. I am not familiar with that at all. I have no clue. I do believe that through weather modification, Florida will be hit extremely hard and probably longer. And I wouldn't be surprised. I think it was a couple of years ago. Remember seeing like a hurricane literally like stop and pause over an area for an extended period of time. I think it was New Orleans years ago, and it was just abnormal. So when you're able to steer the weather in your direction or however you want to, ain't no telling what you can do with that. Harp. Yeah. And I'd imagine by this time, with all the information out there, everybody if you go look, you'll find out that there's equipment that has been built and been used for several decades now that can alter the weather. What else we got here? All right, thoughts and topics and some discussions. I got more articles I can get to, but I would rather just go back and forth and talk to you guys directly. If not, be a short live stream. I figure I'd rather connect with you guys face to face if anybody interested in doing that. I want to shake some things up on my end and diversify my topics, just because continue to talk about the obvious at this point, it's like, if you ain't awake and aware, then it's never too late, but definitely gonna be a little bit more uncomfortable. Kenneth, what's up, my friend? The next ride says Mike Morales caught major anomaly in hurricane, later deleted from radar. Yeah, the milkshake theory. Yeah, so it looks like as of now, Brent Johnson and the ever strengthening dollar index is in play. It's cooling off today as a result of what happened in the Bank of England. As I mentioned earlier, when you have the Bank of England deciding to cut back on the spigot temporarily or permanently, that definitely eases the pressure on the U.S. debt market for sure, as well as the dollar, because more people have confidence that if you have the Bank of England coming back in supporting the debt market, then it's okay to get back in, because literally they're going to start weaponizing the debt market like they always have to try to profit off the system, because debt pays if you're on the inside. Tony B says 120. So you're thinking it's going to get to 120 and cool off, or it's going to shoot through 120? Let me see what the It's been a minute. I saw today, as a result of the Bank of England, we had silver and gold getting a little bid. Crypto's got a little bid upwards. So as of right now, let me check this out. We are at 113-ish. Let me just go last 5 days, what we looking like. So we got up to 114, almost 115-ish. And then, of course, Bank of England. So we're 113-ish. Yeah, but we have a long way to go before we get to 160. If they get back up to 160 with the dollar, that means the rest of the world is already falling apart. But then again, at this current moment, I imagine it'd be hard for more central banks not to pivot rather than let their currencies and their debt market go completely belly up. But we will see. Time will tell. Popeye was back in the Vietnam, bro. Not sure. Let me see. Got a call here. Let's see what's happening out in the world. Hello, caller. Where are we calling from?
Hey, Mike. This is Dennis from Yashkaba, Mexico. Can
Dennis.
you hear me?
Yes, I can, my friend. What's going on with you?
Hey, in my book, I wrote about the weather modification. That was under the Vietnam War. Operation Popeye was the name of it, but that's not why I'm calling tonight.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you. You said the other day regarding the DYX that you could calculate the upper limit that it can go to. What did you mean by that?
I said I could calculate. I don't recall saying that. I said I can calculate.
Go ahead. Like the upper range that it could go to. With the devaluation of the other currencies, what is the maximum number that it could go to? Is kind of what I thought you were saying, but maybe I misunderstood you.
Well, I must have either misspoken. As far as being able to calculate directly, nope. I'm not familiar with that. But then what I do refer to is what I mentioned a moment ago, based upon history. Since the Dixie has been the primary measuring stick of fiat currencies globally, I always refer back to what happened back in the 80s when it got up to 160 as an example of how high it has gone before, and we're nowhere near that. So that's kind of what I was referring to. So I doubt we can get back to that point without the whole world coming to an end, monetarily speaking. But that's kind of what I was referring to, I think.
Okay, well, thanks for clarifying. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, well, I apologize for that. I must have misspoken.
Well, where do you see it going to the max? I can tell you, I see it at 120, and then the dollar starts to weaken. But who knows?
Right, and that's the thing. Like, we can project 120. I mean, history said 160. So your guess would be good as mine. Like, I don't know. Like, literally, just because it's a sign of basically the rest of the world around us crumbling, and they're all rushing into the dollar, ultimately speaking. So there's no telling what that would look like if all fiat currencies, relatively speaking, decided to go to zero and the dollar went, hell, to numbers we have never seen before. But then again, I don't think that's going to happen though, just because the rest of the world is not going to just sit around and let this take place and their entire economies be ruined, civilizations broken down, social unrest, governments. I mean, I just think there'll be some type of announcement or adjustment, or we'll be at war before that happens. It would be my guess.
Well, one thing with that, I mean, the Bank of England stepping in to shore up the pound. The pound didn't really move much. It didn't move much today.
Correct.
So, I mean, if that's shoring it up, this thing's going down, and that would probably increase the dollar strength.
Yeah.
I did get my weight up today. I was in Hugo Salinas Price's bank today, and I bought 2 ounces of silver Libertads.
How much they cost each? What was the price of one of the things each?
I don't know. I don't know. I'll
be curious to find out. Let me know. Keep us posted.
No, you know what it was? It was about $25.50.
Okay, that's a hell of a lot cheaper than they are here.
Well, the way it works there is they have a sell and a buy price. So he'll buy it back, but there's like a 14% premium or 16%. I calculated it one day. It's the same every day.
Yeah.
The spread.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, keep doing what you're doing, my friend. Appreciate you calling in, my friend.
Thank you. Good night.
That'd be good. And speaking of which, in reference to the activity between the pound and the dollar today, as a result of the money spigot being cut back on, it bottomed out at 105, and by the mid announcement, top of the hour, it was 108. So that was a 3 cents or so, £3 or 3 whatever difference here. So that was a slight recovery after they announced that they pivoted and went back to quantitative easing. Illegal counterfeiting ultimately is what it is. It says, I wonder will the dollar get so strong that no one will want it and will force everyone else into alternate ways of exchange? Man, that would be my guess there. It's just because if the rest of the world needs dollars, they're selling off everything to get dollars, and the Federal Reserve hasn't pivoted at that point to create and provide meet the demands of more dollars, then it's like literally like you're literally the Federal Reserve and the U.S. is strangleholding the entire world, and you need alternatives. Like, who would sit around and literally have the quote unquote air sucked out of their body without literally gasping for air and wanting another method in which you can breathe and and live off of. So but once again, everything I'm talking about now, it's at the scale that we're going to experience this is to me, it's new. And I think it's new for the rest of the world as well. Other than every 100 or so years, there is a monetary reset as far as a new reserve currency or something like that being brought into existence. So we'll keep it going. Been fine. Let me see. I am a high dollar pays our debts. No doubt, but I don't think our government is really concerned with paying off our debts, especially those unfunded liabilities, because ultimately they're in the same game as everybody else. They can only sustain a debt level load up until a certain point, because if the Fed came in directly and started buying up stuff outright, I don't think the world will play along with that for much longer. But then again, I could be wrong. Who knows? But ultimately speaking, everybody knows at the end of the day, the world's transitioning. So let me see. Execution from the U.S. Pension, nothing but area below. We got here UK pensions. Oh, I mean, here's the thing. That's just the UK pensions, man. All pensions in the same boat. It's all promised to pay. It's all debt, man. Nothing's there. Nothing is there. And I think we're going to find out on this side soon enough. For Argentina is normal. Oh, 100%. I think inflation right now in Argentina is close to 100% or something like that. Man. Could you imagine? People? Do you ever suffer from discombobulation with regards to spelling? Oh, man. All right, people. What else we got going on? Throw out some other topics, man. What else is on your radar? It's maybe one day I'm gonna write down a list of all the topics that usually come across my radar throughout the day, and see how many exactly the number of events I usually cover throughout the day. Because I tend to, whatever I come across, I usually share. A lot of it has nothing to do with the financial side of things. Most of it is on the health side. What is the alternative? The alternative to the dollar, I'm not able to go that route. We know the role that gold and silver has had and will have, and nations are running to it for some reason, even central banks. So how they use it, who knows? But yet, believe me, the dollar is not going to be the only thing standing when everything burns down. I don't think so. We will have the USD in the US like we have had the last 300 years. It'll look different. It won't purchase nowhere near as what it purchases now. And we'll be under a new system of some kind. They took the dice of Facebook. Yeah. One of the members in the Telegram mentioned that earlier. So, yeah. So that type of stuff is what I definitely pay attention to. The U.S. blew the pie. Let me see how long you wait for gold and silver to shine. TB, I'm fine, man. Like, I'm not impatient. I ain't going nowhere no time soon, Lord willing. You know what I'm saying? I got work to do still. So as far as I'm not in need of like a certain price. I don't need $10,000 gold, $100 silver. I'm fine. For me personally, I'm fine with the fact that as long as, let me just grab one real quick. As long as this boy right here, let me see, I'll put it up here. So let me get this one. Anyway, I got a couple of these things here. But anyway, as long as this boy, any one of these boys, I don't mind. This is an old school boy. As long as this boy says it's worth is worth $1, I'm fine. Even though I paid damn near 30 Federal Reserve notes for it. As long as it says $1 is legal tender and it spends, I'm fine. So I don't need no astronomical numbers. I just need preservation of capital. That's all I need. I ain't trying to get rich and nothing like that. I'm just trying to protect what I work for into that next system whenever it comes. So I'll be fine. I'm cool. I'm not in no rush, man. I definitely want the current reality we're living in now as close to normal as possible for my children's sake. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be fine. I didn't say price. I say how long you wait until gold backing anything. As far as gold backing anything, it may not. That's the thing. Like it's no guarantees. So I'm not pressed for China or Russia or nobody to roll out no gold backing. And that's one of the things on my part. I just tell people, make sure you're not the last one holding all these instruments here just because, it's not going to be any different than any other currency. Like if all currencies return to zero, that means it's going to be a confidence issue at some point in the near or long distance future. And so having some alternatives in the form of other methods of legal tender would do a person justice. So that's all I say. But then again, I know you're advocate for the dollar. Right on with it, man. I like dollars too. I like the ones that clink. I like these, and I like Federal Reserve notes. I like this. I got my Federal Reserve notes over here. I got my USD metals over here. Metal comes from the mint. Money comes from the mint. And the pain. What pain, TB? What pain you talking about? What pain? Manipulation is my friend. I'm not sure what pain you talk about, man. False flag moment. Any minute now. Any minute. I'll get some more calls. I'm up here ranting. Hello, caller. Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, man? Jimmy from Baltimore.
How you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
So what came to my mind is, and I'm still learning this, but the dollar continues to get stronger. Let's just say if I'm a country, you're a country, a couple of other guys listening, we're all countries. This dollar constantly is getting stronger. This is affecting us, right?
Correct.
At some point, I feel like maybe if it doesn't happen now, at some point, I feel like someone's going to find out a way to work around this dollar. A lot of people say Bitcoin or whatever. Maybe not, but it's just a thought. Like, I don't know what'll happen, but I just feel like at some point, don't you feel like you as an individual, you will get tired and fed up, the world reserve currency doing the things that it's doing? Yeah. So I feel like behind the scenes, I'm not smart enough to, or at least I don't think I am smart enough to know what's actually going on 100%. But I feel like at some point, someone or some countries are going to do something that's going to change the world drastically. Yeah. And none of us, in my opinion, are going to see it coming. You know what I mean?
I can imagine that. I mean, like that's where, like, first of all, like, I can admit right along with you, I don't know much of nothing. I just like to keep my eyes and ears open and take all this in and process it and spew my own thoughts. So I'm learning still. But in reference to methods, like countries have already making some adjustments with how they run their economies, and they've lessened their dependency on dollar reserves in their own coffers, and then they're starting to use their own currencies with whatever little remaining purchasing power they have in the form of bilateral trades. So there's currency swaps. I mean, there's other methods out there that Eastern nations are already using. It's small in nature now, but they're making these moves because they clearly want to wean themselves off of the monetary heroin. You know what I'm saying? The dollar is literally killing nations right now, and they want to wean themselves off, but it's a slow process. And so I'd imagine maybe the next decade or so, they'll probably be completely off of it, but it's a slow process just because USD is a part of every fabric of our lives. Everything is priced in it for now. So I'd imagine all that stuff happening out east, that they have some things on their mind that they're going to try to roll out to the world. And based upon the way the West is self-destructing, I'd imagine a lot of nations will probably, accept it as well.
Yeah, one last thing. I recently came back from Mexico. Something that was very interesting is where I was located to, get inside your room. We didn't have the cards anymore, like the hotel cards. They actually gave us a wristband. And inside that wristband, it had like a chip that actually, allowed me to access in and out my room. I know that came out of nowhere, but it was interesting. It made me think about, certain things. Maybe I'm going too far, but like the mark of the beast, or, the new technology that is upon us. But that's all, man.
But they're utilizing our technology for a reason. It's advancing and improving for a reason. So you ain't too far fetched, my man. I appreciate your calling, my friend.
All right, have a good.
Yeah, be good. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So just another little article here. Yuan ruble trading surges more than 1,000%. So this is from the Business Insider. Take of it what you may, Western media. But anyway, nothing lasts forever. I'll just keep it at that. I don't know timing. I'm not prophetic in nature. I just know, based upon what old Joe working on right here, he knows that something's changing, and that's why Jerome Powell and Janet Yellen. Speaking of which, looks like Janet Yellen, according to information that they're having to leak out, she may not be around after this midterm for whatever reason. And so cats in the Biden administration is dropping like weeds. And so here's just a little headline. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen set for departure. And so this is out of Axios yesterday, I think it was. But anyway, after midterms, they might be looking to replace her with who? Well, another Wall Street banker, of course. You know how they do it. Keep it in the family. That keeps it in the family. All right, let's talk. Phone lines open. Give me a call. Alan says the number one gross domestic product for the U.S. outside of our debt is weapons. I don't know that for sure, but I'll take your word for it. The U.S. does love a war, and it's been a while since we had an outright war. Also, speaking of which, I think Afghanistan. I saw that Afghanistan recently signed to receive Russian oil. And so let me see. Yeah, so here's just another little headline here of stories that I come across. Afghanistan signs deal for Russian oil products, gas, and wheat. And so I wonder what they're paying in. I wonder what they're going to pay in. More likely, they're going to either pay in USD or they're going to get themselves some rubles. What would your guess be? I'd imagine somehow, some way, they have more than enough dollars to pay for whatever they need. Thanks to Uncle Joe. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from?
Mike, it's Barlight Broker from the internet.
Barlight, what's going on, my friend?
I'm just wondering when we're going to stop talking and when we're going to get together and do something.
Do something as far as what? You haven't been doing nothing already, or what you waiting on? What are you waiting on?
I mean, like restore our republic.
Yeah. Hey, I'm just a YouTuber, my man. We can talk the talk, but the question is, how many people will get out?
We're all just something, but I said we're all just something, but we all need to be Americans.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And I'm about that life. But one of the things is, until we get organized in a sense where there's actually some steps being taken to get together like that, then, the probability is not that great right now. But then there are people out there, though, like I'm saying, like, I'm all, connecting with the right people. I'll definitely love to talk to them, meet them, or whatever. But, it takes more than one, that's for sure, or two.
I think we need to start a political party called the Americans and make the voting so it's public and it can't be cheated. And we need to take over.
Hey, I'm all here. That sounds like a great idea. Now it's a matter of formulating a plan and then putting it into action. So I'm 100% with you, man. And we've had people calling before, wanted to make some moves. Hey, I'm for it. It takes a team.
Before you can make any moves, you need a plan,
right? 100%.
Or some kind of guide.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to get to the next step.
Yeah. Well, hey, so watch this. So with that idea there, the next step I would say is, I'm sure there's other people within this community here who probably think alike and would love to help out. That could be second, third person, fourth person. So bit by bit, that's how we formulate a team to then begin taking those steps, because it's going to require a lot of brain power as well as some finances to get that type of activity moving. So it's definitely there, man. But I let me know what I can do to help you.
Would you be willing to follow in Solo's footsteps?
So in Solos?
Yeah, we can make him our leader.
Who's in Solo? Who's that?
Solo in the chat.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so okay. So once again, I'm
Mike,
game.
I'm kidding,
Huh?
I was kidding about that, but we do need some kind of a plan. Here's the thing, Mike. This is what I figured. If we can get voting to where we can all be convinced that it actually counts and we're not being cheated, we can publicly see who voted for a specific reason so cheating cannot be achieved, then we will actually win, because we could actually get a legitimate candidate, somebody that voted, someone that everyone, or a majority of the people voted for. Yeah. And we will know with certainty that we haven't been cheated or conned.
Right.
I personally don't believe that Hillary Clinton got 51% of the popular vote in our country when she ran against Trump.
Right, I'd agree.
I think that is a statistical improbability. I don't even think it's possible based on the demographics of women voters.
Yeah. I'd agree as well. And that's where, because they run the damn systems and they have the whole voting system they got that on locks. We'll never know the truth. That's the problem. Like this upcoming midterms, I don't care how you vote, anywhere it goes, more than likely it's not going to be the outcome our country needs, put it like that.
Sure.
And if it is, it's going to be some type of event after that.
Just remember this, Mike. Don't tell anybody who you voted for, buddy.
Hey, man, appreciate you calling, man.
Yeah, all right.
Be good. Oh, man. Yeah, and that's where, like, when people mention, like, what are we going to do about it? Like, first thing is, this is just, ideas that people have thrown out there. Stop paying taxes. Don't pay your taxes. Don't ever pay taxes again. Don't pay a mortgage either. Let them come. You don't owe them the bank no money because there's nothing there anyway. It's a false contract. So like, when people those are some things that people have put out there before. And I'm like, that's kind of, that's kind of hard to just like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do that outright. Like, man, it's just, I hear you. I don't feel you. I wish I could get on board with certain stuff like that, but it's like, man, like, player still got to feed his family. You know what I'm saying? Hello, caller. Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike, how you doing? Pay me money back.
Pay me money back. What's going on, man?
Not too much. Hey, I just wanted to piggyback a little bit off Barlight. My opinion is, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you know physically yourself and your household, your friends and family, law? LAW, do you know law?
Not nowhere near as well as I should. No.
Exactly. And that's why nothing's going to change. Check this out. Nobody in this chat, unless you are a lawyer, knows law. That's why when you go to court, you need a lawyer. See, that's already illegal. So how is it that we walk as citizens and your city councils and your state officials, they say you as citizens, you need to know your law. But every time we get in trouble in a criminal or a civil suit, we have to hire a lawyer. So why is the lingo between citizens and our government different? So when it's time for us to come together and come up with ideas to prosecute these officials, you don't even know law. It's just going to have to go back to hiring somebody who already works for the system, and you can't catch when they're shafting you or bamboozling you because it goes right back to you don't know law.
Right. That's a dilemma right there in of itself.
When you go to court and like what you know personally, when you go to the courtroom, they don't talk like that. They'd be like, and the case number, the statutory, the offense, the living of case 6, 7, 8, 9. You don't know none of that. Right. That's not in everyday law.
Right. Very true.
So people, we have to wake up. And if you want to fight the system, you have to know what the system knows. And if we're not going to do our due diligence on that and dig deep, like I say, some people do know law, but are they using it to benefit the people?
Right.
9 times out of 10, they not. So if we build a community that has registered law people, like I say we got 3 ex-lawyers in the chat that's retired. Cool. I need y'all on my team. Y'all know law. Bam. So now you can enlighten us. So when we get ready to go to fight and they come up with this lingo against us, I'd be like, hey, Solo, hey, what happened? What are they talking about? Oh, they're trying to railroad us. No, don't do that. Send this motion in. We have to do it like that so we can see it coming.
Right. Right, 100%. And as you're talking, Daryl in the chat mentions, he says, you don't need to know law, you need to know legalese. He says lawyers work for the system because they are certified by the bar. And so,
I'm not. Yes, anybody that listen. If you cannot if you sitting in your living room and you get a wire hair up your butt and you be like, I want to do something about it, you're gonna have to hire somebody. I don't know what that dude talking about. You don't know how to know law. You do. You got to hire somebody. Legalese, it's all law. If you got league, it's law, legal law. You don't know it, you got to hire somebody. You have to educate yourself because that's what I was stating. You have to hire them, and then you're hiring the people that's already in the system. I just said that.
Right.
So it's not going to work. I mean, I gave you a scenario a long time ago. If you in hell, Mike, and you trying to get out, are you going to go to the devil and the demons to try to figure out and ask them, hey, can y'all tell me where the exit is? You're stupid. Because I'm just saying, like, it's common sense. So everybody keeps saying, look, start with your city council. That's where you need to. When they say, hey, come on down, we're having city night. If you're not starting there and you're talking about you want to change stuff, just sip you some coffee and go to bed. You ain't even showing up on your own.
So, like, literally, like based upon your response and the additional information you're adding, like, you know, this is some stuff you've mentioned before. So this is some stuff, obviously, that you are more geared and inclined to want to research and study and actually get off the ground type of thing. Whereas in, you know, like me, I'm like, okay, I cover a array of subjects. And I'm like, I know this is beyond me. I would love to get involved with something, but I know I ain't the one. You know what I'm saying? As much as I would like to, that's just more on my plate that I can't afford. But if it's important to you, you'll make it happen.
Not us per se. Not us per se. I'm talking about the people who are asking, what are we going to do? Like the people that's in that lane who actually want to get out there. I'm putting out things that you need to have happen if you're even going to try to fight a fight. It's kind of like why you want to fight, but you're going to war with a rape. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right. That's a good point, man. Like, you know, and I don't want this conversation to just end and nothing comes from it. So I'm thinking like, man, like, you know, there are some people out there that I follow. I'm sure we all follow people out there who talk about law and as well as what are the different types of, I forgot the name of it. Like I've witnessed some of that stuff firsthand, man, like in the actual courtroom with the magistrate, you know, talking some legal jargon that, you know, I realized that it was a different set of rule books they were going with against the person that was being tried. And it let me know that there's 2 different courtrooms out there for sure. Like, so I'm hip to that part. It's just that, you know, I ain't too well versed my damn self, but yeah, that's another avenue to travel down, man.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a long road. Like I said, the only thing I can do is, it's like you try to tell everybody all the time, get your weight up, worry about what you can control, and, you know, go from there. Like, just get your household in order, because trying to go and protest, man, it gets nowhere. It's people that got more money than us, and they get nowhere. You know what I'm saying? They get nowhere. Yeah. So at the end, it's already written. Just take care of what you could take care of and keep it pushing, because whatever's going to happen, going to happen.
Right. 100%, man. Hey, appreciate you calling, my friend.
Hey, not a problem. You have a good one.
Be good. Hello, caller. Where you calling from?
Mike, how's it going?
Doing well. Who am I speaking with?
This is Ed.
Hey, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, I like the conversation. You know, last talk we was talking about change, and you know, you yourself have talked about a new governance, a new form of governance. And I can tell you what's wrong. We're all too fat and lazy. You know, Catherine Austin Smith got me hip to, you know, start working with your school board, your sheriff, your city council. You know, that's where you need to do that. And you know, Florida's proven you can take an area and live a different way. You know, with that governor, they lived a whole different way than we did. Right. Their kids never left school. You know, so that's that is it. And my son's a pastor, and what he says, you will not change until what you're doing is more painful than it takes to change. You see what I'm saying? That,
Yeah.
You know, we won't change until it's so painful. We'll do what it takes to get that change.
Right. I agree with that one.
So that's where we're at. And, you know, they're doing it. You know, they're doing the, you know, getting the over there in Italy. You know, they like that girl that's, you know, they're sick of it. They had too much pain. You know, they're sick of all this flooding their borders and, you know, no energy. And, you know, it's 4 or 5 countries over there in the last couple months.
Yeah.
But, you know, if the system is corrupt, I think eventually, you know, if we can get out of this economic thing somehow and get things started, and we can get leaders that we can put in there that, you know, I think a guy that says, you know, if I get in, we're going to do term limit, you know, and, you know, that really wants to hear what the majority of people could see a change. But until it hurts, it ain't going to happen. So I think we're going to have to, you know, everybody's going to lose their 401. Everybody's going to have to get hungry. Everybody's going to have a hard time paying their bills, and then we'll change.
Right. That's kind of the way it seems like it's heading in that direction right now. Because, I mean, as of right now, with the dollar being as strong as it is, the world basically needing the dollar for whatever it's worth, that right there buys us more time. Therefore, being able to live a little bit more comfortable while the rest of the world deteriorates is it's a possibility. So until it's not, because when the pain sets in, it's going to be real.
Yeah, that's the problem. You know, if we could get this thing together, you know, we could do it with a lot less pain. But that's not how we're wired. We're fat and lazy, and I'm guilty as everybody else. So, you know, as long as the groceries are still coming in and the AC's blowing and the kids are smiling, we're good. You know?
Exactly.
But
exactly. Hey, and that's why I realize, and I'm not. I mean, I recognize when I see all these uprisings and social unrest and all these Middle Eastern, second world, third world countries where people in the streets. Like, I'm like, here, we too comfortable. People got too much pride to hit the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, we not hitting the streets over here unless it's really bad. And I'm thinking, like, that means that's the conditions that you just described, because those people in those parts of the world, they do it often. You know, something don't go right the first time, they in the streets. Like, we don't never hit the streets over here. We ain't hit the streets. I ain't never hit the streets in my life. You know, my ancestors hit the streets, but I never hit no streets because I never really cared much about anything that would lead me to hit the streets like that. You know what I'm saying? That's just me.
Right. But it's coming. But, you know, the one thing that we got going for us that most countries don't is we still got our guns.
Right.
And most countries don't.
Right. That's very
you
true.
know, an army of 150 million is hard to take down.
Right. Very true. Hey, man, appreciate the caller, man.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, be good.
Bye.
Yeah, that's real. That's the real deal there. Let me see here. Here's another little topic. This is, you know, what came to mind. So there was a group of, like, a militia style black gun rights activists demand closed borders in Austin protest. So, you know, these people here, you know, this is where it's kind of hard to read. Like, are these people like Black Lives Matter affiliates, or are these sincere Texans that want change and they are literally utilizing their amendment to protect and to prove a point? So, yeah, I haven't dived deep into it, but I know that there's people out here who are willing to hit the streets for a cause. Let me get this call here. So let me know your thoughts on this if you guys are checking it out. Hello, caller. What's the name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike, this is Dennis from Yashkuba. I know I called before, but I have something to add.
Yeah, go ahead.
To this discussion.
Go ahead.
All right. Here's what I think can help, and it's not violent.
Mm-hmm.
Most municipalities, counties, sheriffs have funds. They're called rainy day funds.
Mm-hmm.
I think at a local level, maybe we can convince these municipalities to hold the rainy day funds in precious metals.
Yeah, it'll be a challenge, but definitely doable. It'll be easier to speak with somebody locally exactly to make that happen. So definitely doable.
Especially
go ahead.
Especially in some of those legal tender states, you know, where precious metal, gold, silver is legal tender, like Arizona and Texas.
Mm-hmm.
We have people that listen to your program that are in those states. I mean, low blood pressures down in Corpus Christi. It doesn't have to be a high-level official. I mean, they're like a huge municipality to really gain some traction, especially in Texas. Think about Texas. I mean, Texas is the only state that has a pension that has money in it. That's the state teacher's pension.
Yeah.
So, down there, that's an opportunity. It's a state that knows that, money is gold and silver.
Right.
If take a mayor of Commerce, Texas, place that I've banned 50,000 people, you might be able to convince that mayor and public officials to hold a portion or all of it in a rainy day fund.
Yeah. I want
that's not violent, I
Right.
mean, sure, we can do this violently. I've said this in the past. If you want to beat a totalitarian regime, you don't comply, but also you can do this. Look, there's only 1,000 bad actors. There's going to be, after the culling, 80 million Americans with firearms. If we can't win that basketball game, we can't win anything. But let's do it nonviolent through the currency system failing to go back to hard money.
Yeah. Hey man, that is definitely a possibility, and I know Texas. Texas is a unique state because they have already made efforts to bring back gold that was held up in New York for their own depository. I'm not sure where they're at with that, but for example, here in Michigan, Detroit's already damn near went through a bankruptcy, and they broke as hell. So I know, there's no savings to put in the gold, even though we had some I think it was some PPP money left over that they're trying to spend in the city. So of course they blew it already, but that's the thing, they're not able to really save. I think it's against city ordinance to save. You got to put it to use somehow, some way to blow it. That just seem how it goes with these, especially Democratic led cities. They got to spend everything they get and run a damn deficit. So I don't know nothing about that though, but I know we ain't much savings in most of these cities. That's why the pension funds are underwater already.
Well, they're all broke. They stole the pensions, years ago. You were looking for callers. I was going to have my wife call in. Look, she's one of the few state employees. Look, she taught for 20 years, cashed out her pension and bought real money. She knows this collapse is going to happen. Look, if you go through the rule of 72 at 10% inflation, they lose 100% after 7.2 years.
Hey.
Okay,
yeah.
So the teachers, that are in Wisconsin, they can only go up to the CPI number, which was at 2%, even though the inflation, was at 8%. They were losing 6%, but they're so damn stupid they don't figure this out. They just become poorer. But that's happening to every industry.
Right.
So anyway, I think, hey, look at who's in Texas. You got Bill Holter down there. We got Mike Adams. I'm just bringing up some names.
Yeah.
We have a lot of listeners. That's a good state. It's a peaceful way to do this.
Yeah. Hey, man. And that's where, for you, an example, you're an outspoken advocate for these type of methods. Definitely continue to, have you reached out to any other people in Texas as far as the people you name to try to get them and see where they at? And because you'll have to be the intermediary to try to get some stuff like this off the ground, man, because you're definitely well-versed in the scenes.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll reach out to Bill Holter and I'll ask him and say, hey, what about this? Because I've talked to some people that mints and some big dealers, and I said, hey, why don't we contact pension funds? Why don't we get these pension funds to invest in money? I mean, it's a tier one asset, a tier one asset, and there's no pensions. Why don't they put some in, gold, silver?
One of the reasons why is that law legally they're not able to, they have they got the financial system set up to the point where a lot of these funds, they are forced to actually buy government debt. That's a primary reason they exist. So the whole gold is it's uncommon and taboo. You might get fired for even talking about it. I know Ohio recently decided to put, I think, 5-10% in gold, which is odd. Yeah. But then again, it's possible. But I think it'll take a lot of uphill battle to fight the contract law stuff to get that stuff added in there at this point in the game. But not impossible, though.
Yeah, let me just build on that Ohio story. What we couldn't find out is if it was paper gold or physical gold. Look what happened down there in Texas. Those teachers bought $1 billion worth of physical gold, and the guy who brokered the deal acted as a fiduciary. Mm-hmm. He said, as a fiduciary, I cannot have paper gold. Arrange delivery. That's the reason that they built that bullion storage facility in Texas, was for the teachers' pensions. Mm-hmm. I've said this for years. The smartest teachers in the United States of Israel are the Texas teachers. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, we'll keep it moving, man. I appreciate you calling back, man.
Thank you.
Be
good night.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And so tonight, man, was interesting, man. It just, from the sound of it, it seems like a lot of people, or a couple people, want to get some things moving, like want to have a action plan and then put some steps to the ground and walk in a direction of some kind. And that definitely sounds doable. It sounds plausible, man. It's just a matter of how, what, and where. Like, Pay Me Moneybags mentioned, the legalese things. And then, of course, yeah, so it just requires a lot of extra effort and energy. Is it worth it? 100%. But then again, it's going to take a lot, literally. And like I always said before, for those who want to fight that fight, you got to be willing to lay down your life for that type of stuff. Because if it gets too big, you cause too much of a fuss, you interrupt the big boys' plans based upon prior experiences from what they've done in the past. They just, cancel your contract, cancel your life contract. So, are you willing to lay it down for your country? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where it boils down to, I think. And that's that tug of war in my spirit of like, I ain't supposed to be here and I'm not here for much longer anyway. I don't know what that time frame is, but the cause that I'm here for ain't necessarily about trying to protect or save something that is not even mine. Like, yeah. Anyway, I can rant on forever. I'm not. All right, let's get a call. Then we're done. Let me get this last one. Hello, caller. Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike, low blood pressure, Corpus Christi. How's it going?
LVP, doing good, my friend. What's going on with you?
Man, Mike, look, you can't fight this thing, Mike. Look what they did to those the January 6th guys. They got a tour right to the damn jail cell, Mike. You can't fight, and they were doing nothing, Mike. They were sitting there taking selfies, and they got put in federal prison.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a fresh reminder.
Look, Mike, they took out a president in broad daylight, Mike. Broad daylight in Dallas.
Yeah. Okay, that's another refresher.
Look, Mike. Let's max those credit cards out. Let's get all the silver we could get. And when everything blows over, Mike, we're going to have choices. We're going to be able to go to any country we want. Nobody's going to stop us, Mike. That's the plan.
You make it sound.
That's the game plan, Mike.
You make it sound too easy, as if the government is already corrupt as hell. It's not going to get more. It's not going to become more evil in their game plan and methods. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're only going to get worse, not better, to where they're going to let people who were prudent stewards of their finances just live happily ever after. That's the part where I'm like, it's not going to be that easy, I don't think.
Mike.
Yeah.
Mike, they can't touch us, Mike. The only thing they can touch is what's in the bank. That's it, Mike. They're not going to go door to door. They'll get their heads blown off. Who's going to enforce that?
Hey, man, I understand where you're coming from, and I hope it is that way. I wouldn't be mad, but like that.
All right, Mike. Look.
Go ahead.
I just got a new credit card, Mike. I just got a new credit card. I'm going to transfer funds from another one to this one. I got it, man. I'm gonna load up. It's going to go down a little. I'm going to load up. This is going to be the final load, Mike.
Hey, well, knock them dead, man.
All right, Mike. I'll send you the bill, all right?
Be good, man.
All right, Mike.
Yeah.
Take it easy. Bye.
Oh, man. Credit cards and maxing them out. Anyway, people, we're at the hour point, man. What an interesting night. I'm not going to answer any more calls. I'm done. Mentally exhausted, man. There's just so much going on in my mind right now. It's like, part of me want to put up a fight, but then again, it's like, what am I fighting for? Is what I'm fighting for really worth it? And that's where I'm like, it's only so much that, I'm really willing to lay it down for. And based upon what I'm witnessing in this country, in this world, I ain't, other than protecting mine, I'm like, I don't know. But anyway, to each his own. We'll keep it moving. Be back again another day, another time. All right, my good people. Enjoy the rest of your night or morning, wherever you at. If you enjoyed this back and forth and getting a chance to interact in the community and call in and hear some interesting calls, some crazy calls, you name it. That's what the People's Talk Show is about. Want to make it enjoyable and entertaining as well as educational, because everybody knows what to do. Get your weight up, because this thing right here won't be around for much longer. They're using this to distract you and they're trading this in for this while they roll out the CBDCs at some point in the future. It's all a big trap, man. All right, people. Be blessed, be safe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.